Okay, now we're into chapter 6. Job gets a chance to respond to his friend Eliphaz, and we're going to take a look and see how much pain Job is in. Notice chapter 6, the first few verses. He says, "If only my anguish could be weighed and all the misery be placed on scales, it would surely outweigh the sand of the seas." This is a guy that's in tremendous pain. So what kind of pain is Job responding to? And think about, in light of the pain that he's in, what would you expect from your friends if you were in this much pain? Okay, because the arrows of the Almighty are in him, and my spirit drinks in their poison. God's terrors are marshaled against me. Job couldn't even rest without sensing God's judgment on his life. Oh, that I might have my request. What is Job saying here? Look at verses 8 and 9. He just wants to die. So what does Job just want? He wants some sympathy from his friends because he just wants to die. And everybody is picking on him. Well, let's put it this way. Eliphaz is picking on him. His friends are all going to do what Eliphaz did, by the way. Get down to verse 11. What is Job losing sight of? He really believes that his life has become hopeless, that he has no future, and that he can't do anything about the situation because they're telling him, Eliphaz, Job, just repent and everything will be fine. No, I can't do that. I don't have it in me. Now you have proved to be no help because you see something dreadful and are afraid. Well, Job is making a good point here against his friends. You look at me in horror and you're afraid and you don't want this to happen to you. And so a good question for us to ask is, are his friends overreacting? And is Job and the way he looks really freaking them out? Okay? And then down here toward the tail end of this chapter, chapter 6, he says, "So now be kind when you look at me. Would I lie to your face? Relent. Do not be unjust." In other words, I've told you that I haven't done anything wrong, and yet you're accusing me of doing something wrong. I mean, can't you tell by just looking at me that I'm struggling here? I mean, come on. And that he is recognizing malice in his friends. So what is Job recognizing in his friends? He's recognizing malice. Then, going quickly to chapter 7, where he continues, he has a prayer to God. And the prayer is real simple. "Remember, O Lord, that my life is but a breath. My eyes will never see happiness again." What is Job losing here? What is he losing a sense of? And then again, verse 16, "I despise my life. I would not live forever. Let me alone. My days have no meaning." What is Job looking at here? What is happening to his outlook on life? And then his final appeal to God is, "If I've sinned, what have I done? You see everything we do. Why have you made me your target?" He's looking around. This isn't happening to anybody else. Well, of course, in chapters 1 and 2, we know why this is happening to him. And it's not about his sin. And so as we take a look at here, we need to ask ourselves some questions. What's going on in the relationship of Job and his friends? What's happening? What are his friends? What's happening in the friends' lives? Is fear affecting their judgment? And then asking application questions. Do I freak out? Do I struggle with, when people are suffering, automatically accusing them of some kind of sin? We need to think this through because this is going to give us some insight into what it means to embrace suffering. So I hope this helps. If it helps, let me know.